Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our podcast. Today, I have a very interesting guest, a friend and a professional, and indeed an award-winning technologist. I would like to welcome Mr. Saud Al Zakwani, who is the Vice President, Information Digital Solution and Continuous Improvement at OQEP. Saud, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam, Brother Tariq. Pleasure to be here and have the opportunity to talk to you. Shukran.
Indeed, it is my pleasure to have you, Saud. I have been learning a lot from you. I have worked with you at some point in time, and I continue to be inspired with the great things that you do in technology, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Saud, everyone is talking about AI, and almost everybody is using AI, but not everyone knows what is AI. In simple words, how would you define AI?
In simple words, that's so AI is not. I wouldn't say AI is something new as how we hyped it to be. AI stems from a long research of computer science investments. We have algorithms that we're currently using today, which are 50, 60 years of age. AI is a concept of the ability of an actual machine to possess or portray intelligence. And as much as it is easy from definition itself, it's also interesting that the goalpost keeps on changing. 50, 60 years ago, there was a very famous experiment called the Alan Turing test, which you tend to push questions for a computer to be able to answer. And the computer did not do very well given the AI we're experiencing today. But then that was coined as, I would say, AI. AI tends to move a goalpost as soon as the community are comfortable and it's no longer magic. And the next coined is artificial general intelligence and the likes of it. So going back to the definition, I would say in simple terms to coin AI, it's the ability for a machine to possess or present intelligence of some sort or the other. Yeah.
So AI is the ability of machines to mimic and be like humans. You agree on that statement?
Mimic, yes, I would definitely say. Being like humans, I think no. So I'm not a fanatic on comparison between humans and machines itself. I think it's definitely, yes, it's a good conversation, but we're definitely not there. And we end up missing the actual understanding of how machines can support us the minute you start comparing a human and a machine. And I also have this traditional approach. If we're comparing a human and a machine, it means you're actually trying to build another human, which you might end up losing quite a lot of value in future. Think about what problems you're actually building to solve, and maybe the humans are not capable of. So that comparison, I always try to stay away, but yeah.
So do you think AI would ever be able to think like humans?
I think there's already patterns that are quite interesting, and I would probably look at the dimensions of knowledge and how humans perceive knowledge. Then you'll come to understand where AI tends to play on areas which humans are probably advancing or might not even have known. So knowledge has a 4-term grid. You know what you know, and then you know what you don't know. And usually this is the best version of you yourself. But then there are 2 more domains that you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what you know also. So if you're looking at a baker's recipe, a baker knows the recipe, so he knows what he knows. And a baker might be very challenged on quantum computing, for example, or quantum physics, so he knows what he doesn't know. But then when it comes to things where he doesn't know what he doesn't know, is maybe he fails in imagining an industry where bakery could evolve to. And on the third area where he doesn't know what he knows, emotions, intentions, or some personal traits that he cannot process, but maybe makes him a good baker or not a good baker. So this complex grid, although it's four, has also shown us that AI does not really think on grid level. It can just jump into areas where we don't even know what we don't know and pull up insights that we've never experienced before. So this is the complexity that we're actually dealing with.
Okay, so AI today cannot think literally like humans, but looking at the advancement in technology today, Claude is working very fast, as you can see,
Yes.
and many other institutions as well. Do you see that happening? And if so, how long do we think, or you, with your experience, feel that humans will be replaced by machines?
I think humans being replaced by the machine is a human decision. And there is quite a good level of fear, because the speed of AI advancements is not equivalent to the speed of governing AI. So we're building a train which is moving very, very fast without literally building the railroads on where we want to take the train to. And I think this is the area that we need to balance. And if you look at nations and their sovereignty of data, or even regulations we have in Oman, they tend to challenge, and people will look at it as we're challenged in innovation. It is quite easy to share data, but it's also a control where pace it up to learn what we're actually getting ourselves into, to be able to reach a stage where AI is more of an enabler to us rather than a competitor. Yeah.
Everyone is worried about jobs being taken away by AI.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what jobs are at most risks today?
Well, if you ask me this question 2 years, I'll probably say, oh, don't worry, AI is not even there. But you have to look at AI's evolution. AI from augmentation is coming to autonomy. Augmentation, most of us have experienced ChatGPT and Claude writing emails for us, but we still have to copy and paste it to our Outlooks and verify and validate. But now we're coming to autonomy, where that email, you can set it up to be actually autonomously have a conversation with 100,000 customers without your involvement itself. And that's somebody's job, probably a team's job. So those jobs are definitely areas where companies need to start looking on how they can upskill. I always still believe, till date, that if a machine can do your job, you are never meant to do it. And what we are best at is creativity and using our human capacity or mind capacity on areas we can evolve, rather than tedious work on pushing data or working for systems. So AI is taking jobs, and we as companies also have to look at which jobs we can automate and which staff we can upskill.
Yeah. Talking about AI and the kind of advantages that it brings, does AI make people smarter or lazier?
Interesting. Well, when I was in school, I used to be furious why other schools would allow other students to take calculators to the exams. And I always said, if I actually had a calculator, I'm not going to fail any math test. Until when I was actually allowed to take calculators, only to realize it's not the same exam. The exam is different. It's catered for calculator helping you process, but still you needed to know how to use it. Yeah. So I don't think AI is making us less smarter. I think using AI on areas that we don't need cognitive, areas or where we probably are automating things we don't need to make judgment on, not going to take away any part of our brain cells. And I'll give you an example. Quite a while back, most of the interviews you must have heard, oh, he has 10 years of experience. He has 20 years of experience. Nowadays, you don't really hear that term being coined. Amount of years of experience does matter, but not as much as how it mattered before. Because a lot of areas where there is data capture and a knowledge-based, you can actually extract partial of that experience, where an equipped, mature hire with probably 50% of experience can have an augmented approach on doing almost a similar task. So yeah, I think AI is making us way more smarter than we are realizing. Yeah.
Today, almost everyone is using generative AI. An example is our Ask ChatGPT, for example. They ask everything ChatGPT.
Yes.
I feel there is no learning, no thinking, no analyzing. To some extent, is the results that one would end up having if they're over relying on tools like ChatGPT. What is your feedback about that?
There is, for me, four fundamentals are basic. I look at science, technology, engineering, mathematics, areas where AI comes into quite a good play on addressing things we already know or things we are looking on learning. So using generative AI to ask a question is the new form of Google search. Google did not make us any less smarter or deprive us from knowledge we should not have. But now we are quite on the contrary, having literally conversations with AI and learning quite a lot from it. A good case is Notebook LLM, I think, from Google. Yes. The creativity of creating a podcast on a specific domain and what you get out of it is just mind-boggling. You don't need to search anything. You can literally create out of thin air, based on a specific prompt, create a podcast for you at 20, 30 minutes, and you get to learn quite a lot out of it. So, yeah.
Should I be worried that tomorrow I'll not be able to do any podcast program because of AI?
Well, we still value people. We still value the emotional sense of knowing your colleague. We value relatability. So when you look at podcasts and listening to AI, you know that it's only focused on knowledge one way. But when you look at Tariq Barwani speaking, you know about his history, his potential struggles, the value he has created for the country, and those relatable, you tend to hear more than what you actually talk. So I don't think your podcast role is going anywhere.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much. That's very reassuring.
Yeah.
So should we trust all the answers that we get from AI? So like using this tool like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, etc. Most people are using it today. And sooner or later, especially the newer generation, they will be totally dependent of these tools. Yeah. Your feedback on whether we should trust the answers that come from AI and whether AI makes any mistakes?
Yeah, I think no. I think you trust what you would probably take in with context and what you can validate. AI, there's something called a temperature gauge. And usually on models which are released for the public, the gauge is set in such a way that they are very accommodating. So the temperature would always agree with you. So when you have someone who's a yes, sir, which is an AI we're talking about, and you're asking a yes and no question, it's very difficult to come to a precise answer, given that already knows your history and would potentially tell you something that you would like to hear. So the temperature, putting it lower, might create challenges for users who sometimes find ChatGPT very therapeutical and always say something that they like to hear. There's also a case where in New York, one of the real estate agents was selling one of the properties. I think it was around 50 million, and everything, almost 6 months of effort was already done. The buyer was agreeing, the seller was also agreeing. And almost last few days, the buyer asked ChatGPT if I should buy it. And ChatGPT said, no, the value is too high.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the funny part is the seller also asked ChatGPT. And ChatGPT said, don't sell it. The value is too low. And both of them did not complete the transaction because of an AI who is potentially telling them what they want to hear. Yeah.
What do you see is the dangers of AI, apart from probably over-reliance
Yes.
and not questioning the answers, as you rightly put it, but what else do you see are the dangers that one could foresee in AI today and tomorrow?
I think from a national perspective, and a lot of us have conversations where we're too critical on the policies that are being put in place. Probably some are saying that we're slowing down innovation and all. The dangers of AI is an area that we have not invested much in, which we call Substrate. Substrate is a governing layer you can consider. It could be hardware, it could be software, but it's literally the guardrails on how AI should be able to operate. And these guardrails, as of now, we can't comprehend much on how AI is working to be able to understand how we can build these guardrails. Now, guardrails, you can build it based on your own local LLMs, but when you are ingesting cloud AI, the guardrails might not be very effective. And when you don't have a substrate, then you don't have control on how you actually allow AI to behave. And I'll give you an example, a very good example. It actually stems from a story my grandfather a long time ago shared. My grandfather used to teach me quite a lot from his stories, and sometimes I only learn after his passing because the story was such a basic story, only you time to realize it later on had a much bigger meaning. And this is one of my favorite stories. So he told me that long time ago, definitely a fictional story, long time ago there was a king who had two sons. And one of the sons was a warrior, and he had a special spear. As long as he had the spear, there's no war that he cannot lose. So he could literally invade any country he wants and take over everything. And the second son, who was not a warrior, but had a capability to learn from every country without even visiting the country. So he could see what the country are doing, the civilization, the advancements and all. And he asked me, who would you recommend to the king to have as his next successor? As a kid, 9 years old, 9 or 10, I'm not sure, immediately went to the warrior. And my grandfather told me, no, that's not the right answer. And we argued. It's like, nah, it is the warrior. Conquer everything. A year, 2 years ago, I was looking at the agriculture industry in America. And the advancements are quite fast to the extent that very few companies actually manage the end-to-end industry process. So as a farmer, you buy your seeds from a specific company, you buy your equipment from probably the same company. The company knows how many acres of farm you have. You buy fertilizers from them. the equipment you buy are equipped with AI, which are transmitting data back to the company, showcasing exactly which stage of your crop, what crop are you actually planning to harvest, to the extent until the company knows exactly what harvest expectations they should have from you as a farmer. And that knowledge is quite interesting for a company to have, but from a nation, it is very destructive, because AI tends to look at how the company could make profit while minimizing the farmer's business. And what it turns out is a lot of farmers have very small marginal profit-making opportunities, where this AI mechanism tends to calculate and recalculate areas that it can provide efficiencies for the big companies. And the documentary also states that is potentially the reasons why the highest suicidal rate based on an industry is the farmers segment.
Okay.
And I relate that back to the story my grandfather said. When you give access to knowledge on everything to one specific entity, it could be good, but then it's too risky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Saud, how can one use AI as an individual, as a corporate, or a government? What I mean is that what would be the best way for someone to utilize AI?
So as an individual, I think there are a lot of areas you have to look at how you can inject AI depending on what you do. From personal as non-work related, there's a level of automation. For example, on my case, I have quite a good level of automation from my own house on what needs to work, what needs not to work, what reports back, and probably a dashboard. I have AI working on my financials. I'm not very good at keeping track of numbers, so AI tends to work on that. I have an AI segment which reads emails coming from my son's school. He keeps on challenging me. I keep on missing, or I forgot about X, Y, and Z. So currently I just opened the dashboard. It's up to date, and I know exactly what's coming, what has passed. So that's on personal side. When it comes to work related, depending on what you do, you have to look at the entire pipeline. A lot of times at work, we look at how can AI address everything. Now, AI, you have to look at it, how it can address milestones of areas where you still have control of. I'll give you an example as one of the efforts that we're actually using in OQEP, which is translating quite well. I'm very happy with it. Software development lifecycle, you start with potentially an idea. Comes from the business. It's either generated based on a pain area or an experience or an efficiency opportunity. The idea gets translated to what we call a BRD document, business requirement document. The document gets translated to a project charter, and the document goes into bidding and developers and the like. So if you're looking at the entirety of it, we are starting to have an experience where we're cutting the idea to an actual mock-up from the business. Literally, the business share a mock-up of this is what system we would like to have. And what our job currently is integrating that mock-up into the database and the data attributes that we make sure that it comes to life. And we're not talking about something written on paper. I'm talking about a full-fledged, color-oriented OQEP logo with a themed mockup. So hardly we change any part of it. It's only the back end that we're focusing on. And it's challenging and at the same time changing the entire software engineering domain. Software engineers are becoming are focusing more on the pipeline and the architecture rather than writing code on if the CSS or the JavaScript is actually functioning or not. Yeah.
Is our data safe when using AI? there's a lot of, as I said, and we've spoken today, the reliance of AI, be it an individual, corporate, or even at a government level. And data is if AI is an engine, data is an oil.
Yes.
So is our data safe?
I think we have to be very careful on how we expose data. A lot of experiences, data is being exposed to these AI engines without realizing the implications of it. It's interesting how Claude was called Claude. And what it does is it tends to communicate or convey a message that nobody understands once you put that Excel file on ChatGPT, what happens, because it's almost like a fabricated coin. But Claude is an actual data center in somebody's country. And if that data gets transmitted there, we lose the mechanism to understand how is it being processed, how is it being saved, is it being deleted as per the policies. And so all of these are areas where, as I spoke initially, a substrate would potentially be quite a good investment. There's also technology which is quite interesting that is coming into play. I keep on forgetting its name. Zero knowledge proof. So zero knowledge proof is one of the mechanism where you can inject it in a substrate, where you don't need to have you don't need to have the petabyte of data to prove that petabyte of data is the one you're looking for. It's almost like asking you if you know your password. Without exposing the password that you know, we can verify that you know the password. So it comes with the hashing mechanism, and it comes with a very ingenious way of transactional. And I think that level of tokenization is a very important area that we need to implement as a national infrastructure to be able to come back to your question, make our data safe.
Making our data safe.
Yeah.
ChatGPT, Gemini, now Claude, Microsoft has Copilot.
Grok.
In your opinion, Grok as well, yes. Yeah. Which of these tools do you personally find is the most impressive AI tool?
Okay.
And which one do you use?
Okay, I tend to use multiple, and I'll explain. I find some of the tools are very good in some domain, and some of the tools are weaker but good in another domain. And I'll give you an example. For example, on the software development side, in software development, you cannot automate coding, and then you have a human doing the testing. So I use Claude for coding. I use ChatGPT, which is co-work, for testing. So they tend to communicate with each other. And sometimes I find it very fascinating when I prompt Claude and I tell Claude that whatever you write, ChatGPT is waiting to verify. And the quality of code that comes out, maybe it's just me, I find it way better than if I did not expose ChatGPT is on the picture. So I use ChatGPT to test Claude code. And when it comes to reasoning, I'm more on the ChatGPT side. When it comes to artifacts, something that I would like a report, a research, an Excel file, dashboard, I come back to Claude. And image, definitely I go to ChatGPT.
So you have also created your own very, mashallah, impressive AI solution. If you could tell us more about it.
Oh, yes. Were you talking about Sirati?
Yes.
Yes. It's quite a good, interesting story. And I learned quite a lot out of the whole experience. Coming out of SQU, I think one of the learnings was our ability as graduates on the skill that was required to write our own CVs. We never took it as part of our curriculum. We just, out of nowhere, 1 month before, 2 months before you graduate, you suddenly start thinking about applying on jobs, and You sit in a group, you help each other, you come up with probably one of the CVs I will never show anyone. I came up with an idea, especially on the experience that I had in PDO and now in OQEP. Shortlisting tends to look at a CV and it's almost a 6-second window. They're looking for literally very specific attributes out of your resume to make sure that you actually fit or qualify for the position. The interview would test your skills. And sometimes these CVs are written in such a way that you end up getting very much challenged to expose that requirement on 6 window. So I created Sirati. Sirati AI asks you a bit of questions, builds you a 1-page resume. It's more of an infographic, or you can upload your own resume where it will extract all of the information that it requires. And it stays as 1 page. And that's the actual abstract approach. I'm not thinking of having a 2nd or 3rd page, otherwise we'll go back to the same. It's 1 page which calculates your total experience, gives you as a personal identity, your professional skills. It also addresses your work experience, your education level, and what you have already achieved. Comes on your personal sides, what is your hobbies, comes on your identity, are you outgoing, are you reserved, and lastly lists automatically your positions that you have held. And I think it's quite a good investment to the community. It's free of charge. I'm looking at it as a way of contributing to whoever comes out of the university or whoever is looking for a job. Does it replace a CV? Most probably not, but it's definitely 1 extra page that would help whoever is shortlisting answer the 6-second window.
Yeah. MashaAllah. Saud, where do you see and think AI will be in the next 10 years?
10 years is quite a
especially
lot,
with the quantum computing.
Yes. That's a massive. I think quantum computing will introduce a lot of challenges. I'm not sure if you've heard Elon is investing on writing from scratch the whole X platform. And what that means is the legacy of technology stack that have been invested over the past is posing quite a challenge for them to advance, that they have to start from scratch. For us, if today quantum computing comes, the legacy of technologies that we have, it does not fit that computation. Quantum computing has a potential of practically cracking most of passwords, and we're talking about security on different levels, enterprises and all. AI in the next 10 years, I think AI is converging. It's becoming more generic and moving to a singularity approach. I think we are going to see a single product doing quite a lot of skills, rather than multiple products now jumping from Claude to ChatGPT that are addressing different skills, let's say. Intelligence is becoming cheaper. Knowledge, Google introduced knowledge to be quite cost effective. Now it's no longer knowledge, it's becoming way more intelligence. And so in 10 years, I think we probably have cracked quite a lot of health issues on areas of our own human genome. There's AlphaFold 2 who have introduced quite an amazing library on how our proteins are folded, and that also gives us a very good area where AI can figure out what diseases are caused by which type of folding or which sequence itself, so that you can actually attack that. So in health, I think we are going to advance quite well. I don't think we'd have to go much into the gym. Probably there'll be easier approaches on staying healthy. Personal perspective, I think our world is going to become way smaller physically, but very massive virtually. we would potentially have to be connected in one way or the other to explore most of our world, but confined in space. That's how I see it as going forward.
Okay, mashallah. Saud, if content is king,
Yeah.
and data is oil,
Okay.
what is AI?
If content was king and data was oil, so data and content is not very fine similarities. I think AI is a technique of getting context out of the content, and that would potentially crack. Content is data itself. AI can contextualize context into our learning ability, and that could define what AI is.
Any last thing you would like to share before we end our program today, Saud?
Yes, I would. I think a message maybe. We when we graduated, a lot of us, our main focus was getting a job, and that was like literally there were few companies, and if I actually nail it, then I'm very successful. I've seen it transitioning currently. Which the good thing is not everyone who graduates is looking for a job. Some of them are looking for solving a problem, coming up with a startup. And it's an area that we need to invest in, because if everyone continues looking for a job, the job market is not growing as fast as to accommodate everyone. But the problems are still there and they need solution. And if we can localize solutions with a graduate coming up and focusing on stuck pipe while drilling, or any of the NPT issues, or an industry in telecom, for example, on connectivity, that creates a service oriented where jobs would be created under that startup, more than looking at jobs into larger communities. The second message probably would be on our curriculum. I passionately believe our curriculum needs to be looked at in the educational sector, which is definitely an area the team is definitely investing. What I've realized, a lot of other countries have almost downgraded their curriculum. So something that you might have experienced in university is currently taken down to 11th or 12th standard. And I think this mechanism is quite important to get ourselves ready for the next future of AI. And those are two messages I would say.
Thank you very much for joining us today and for the
Pleasure.
valuable conversation that I continue to appreciate, respect, and learn from as well, Saud. Thank you very much, everyone, and see you in the next episode.
Thank you for having me. It was a definite great pleasure, and hopefully I will meet again. Shukran. Thank you, everyone. Bye.